What if I told you that the Snow White you know is a lie? Disney showed you a sweet princess kissed awake by true love. But the original Snow White story? It's got cannibalism, child murder attempts, and a villain literally tortured to death in red-hot iron shoes. Yeah, you heard that right. The Brothers Grimm didn't hold back in 1812, and today I'm taking you through the real story that Disney desperately wanted to hide from you. Trust me, this is not your childhood fairy tale. Before we dive into the nightmare fuel, let's talk about who actually wrote this story. Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. Yeah, the Brothers Grimm published their collection of German folktales in 1812. But here's the thing, they weren't writing for kids. These were stories passed down through generations, meant to teach harsh lessons about survival, jealousy, and consequences in a brutal medieval world. Snow White, or Schneewittchen in German, was one of their most famous tales. And when you read the original, you'll understand why Disney had to completely rewrite it. Our story begins with a queen who pricks her finger while sewing by a window. She sees 3 drops of blood on white snow and wishes for a daughter with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. She gets her wish, Snow White is born. But here's the first dark twist. The queen dies in childbirth. The king remarries, and the new queen is beautiful but obsessed with being the fairest in the land. Every day, she asks her magic mirror,
"Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?"
And every day, the mirror says it's her, until Snow White turns 7 years old. Not a teenager like Disney showed you, a literal child. And the mirror tells the queen that Snow White is now the fairest. The queen's jealousy consumes her, so what does she do? She orders a huntsman to
Take Snow White into the forest, kill her, and bring me her lungs and liver as proof.
But wait, it gets worse. The queen plans to eat them. Yes, cannibalism. She literally wants to consume Snow White's organs, believing it will make her beautiful again. The huntsman can't do it. He lets Snow White run away and kills a wild boar instead, bringing back its organs. The queen? She has the cook prepare them and eats them, thinking she's eating a 7-year-old's lungs and liver. Snow White stumbles through the forest and finds a tiny cottage belonging to 7 dwarfs. They agree to let her stay if she keeps house for them. Meanwhile, the queen asks her mirror again, and it reveals Snow White is still alive and living with the dwarfs. The queen is furious. She disguises herself as a peddler woman and visits Snow White with a beautiful laced bodice. She offers to lace it up for Snow White, then pulls it so tight that Snow White can't breathe and collapses, seemingly dead. The dwarfs come home, find her, cut the laces, and she revives. The queen tries again, this time with a poisoned comb. She brushes Snow White's hair, and the poison immediately knocks her unconscious. Again, the dwarfs save her by removing the comb. 3rd time's the charm for the queen. She creates a poisoned apple, red on one side, white on the other. Only the red side is poisoned. She takes a bite of the white side to prove it's safe, then offers it to Snow White. Snow White bites the red side and drops dead. This time, the dwarfs can't revive her. They're so heartbroken that they place her in a glass coffin on a mountaintop, where she remains perfectly preserved for years. Now let's talk about what makes this story absolutely brutal compared to Disney's version. 1. Snow White's age. Disney. Beautiful teenager. Original. 7 years old when the queen first tries to kill her too. The queen's cannibalism. Disney. Just wants her dead. Original. wants to eat her organs to absorb her beauty. 3. The revival Disney. True love's kiss awakens her. Original. A prince finds her years later, wants to take the coffin to his castle. His servants are carrying it, and trip. The jolt dislodges the poisoned apple chunk from her throat, and she wakes up. No kiss, just clumsiness. 4. The Queen's punishment. Disney falls off a cliff. Original. She's forced to attend Snow White's wedding, where red-hot iron shoes are placed on her feet. She's made to dance until she literally drops dead from the torture. Think about that. The Queen is burned alive from the feet up, forced to dance in agony at the wedding of the girl she tried to murder. Medieval justice was harsh. You might be wondering, why would anyone tell children such a horrifying story? Here's the thing, in the early 1800s and the medieval period these tales came from, life was brutal. Child mortality was high. Stepmothers were common because mothers often died in childbirth, and survival meant understanding real dangers. The moral lessons. For children, don't trust strangers even if they seem nice. Vanity and jealousy destroy you, and actions have severe consequences. For adults, the story warned against obsession with beauty and youth, showed the dangers of unchecked jealousy, and reinforced that evil would be punished, even if that punishment was extreme. The Brothers Grimm collected these tales from oral traditions. They weren't creating stories, they were preserving them. And in later editions, they actually toned down some of the violence because even they thought it was too much. Why Disney changed it? When Disney adapted Snow White in 1937 for their first animated feature film, they needed a story that could sell tickets to families. Cannibalism? Torture? A 7-year-old protagonist? None of that would work for a mass audience. So they aged up Snow White, removed the darkest elements, added cute animals and singing, and gave us the true love's kiss ending we all know. It worked. The film was a massive success and defined fairy tales for generations. So, there you have it, the real Snow White story that's far darker, stranger, and more disturbing than anything Disney could show you. These original fairy tales weren't meant to comfort us, they were meant to prepare us for a harsh world, teach us about consequences, and show us that evil, while it might win for a while, ultimately gets what it deserves. What do you think? Should Disney have kept more of the original story, or were they right to sanitize it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more dark original fairy tales that'll blow your mind, hit that subscribe button because I've got plenty more stories to uncover. Thanks for watching, and remember, the truth is always darker than the fairy tale.